Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His begotten Son, who the world calls the Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai. My name is Brother Yakanan, and to my left is Akamaria. We are Hebrew Chosen Elect. We are located at Wilmington, Delaware, and we're going to probably proceed with a couple of announcements, and then we're going to go into our Shabbat reading, continuing in the Torah at Exodus 35.
I'll pull those up. And while I pull it up, as usual, we start off by giving all praise, glory, honor to Yahweh. Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being the true name of the Heavenly Father, and Yahweh Shai being the true name of His only Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus the Christ.
I'm sorry, we're experiencing some technical difficulties. Where's your book at? Where's your book at? Got one? If you could go get him one of them Bibles out the car. Run. Stay put. You stay put. That's what I was asking.
All right, here we go. First announcements is upcoming High Holy Days, New Moons. Upcoming Marshal Yashala High Holy Days, New Moons. Next upcoming new moon will be September the 23rd at sundown. September the 23rd at sundown. And the next High Holy Day coming up the same day will be Feast of Trumpets. September the 23rd, don't mind the 8th, that's a typo. So at sundown, we'll have our new moons, and beginning and our Feast of Trumpets celebration. Um, if you'd like to join us, reach out. You can text or call or message on Facebook, and we can get the information to you where we'll be having this feast if you'd like to come out. Um, then after that, Day of Atonement, October 2nd, and Feast of Tabernacles will be starting October the 7th, all of which at sundown. Um, and we'll, like I said, we'll get those addresses for when we'll be having the feast out when we get them, or you can reach out, contact us, and we can get it to you that way. Which leads us into the next announcement. Contact information, you can contact me at 302-510-7147 or on Facebook if We Are Israel. And you can contact Yakanan at 508-840-7710 or on Facebook at Brandon Daniels, Yakanan Maccabee Yashala. Also, please go ahead and join our Facebook group, The Rise of the Chosen. Also, for lives, previous videos, follow us on our YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe to ACE Red Pill Reality and ACE Reloaded. And with that, we'll go ahead and get into the reading. Exodus 35. Chapter 1, which I think will probably, it's not a lot of, this is these chapters, it's not a lot of teaching points, that we can really go off of. So we should be able to get straight through it. It's pretty much describing the tabernacle, the garments for the priest, everything that we touched on previous verses. He's just coming back again and reiterating what has already been put down in the previous chapters. So most High willing, we'll get through the whole reading today to 40, and then Leviticus chapter 1. But yeah, with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started. Exodus 35, verse 1.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 35, verse 1. And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together and said unto them, These are the words which Yahweh hath commanded that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day there shall be to you an holy day, a Sabbath of rest to Yahweh. Whosoever doth work therein shall be put to death.
So this day is a day of rest. And a rest from what? A rest from doing your own pleasure, a rest from work, a rest from the world. This is a day, like we should really be in the scriptures, learning his word every day, learning our history, learning his instructions, his laws, commandments. But if there ain't any other day, the seventh day, the day of the Sabbath, should be a day that you dedicate to the Lord, not going to work, not tending to your field, not shopping, throwing parties, a whole whatever it is that's not serving the Lord, like Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 8 shows us. And it doesn't mean like you're in class the whole day, sun up to sundown, but this is the day how the Christian church has Sunday. It's really supposed to be the seventh day, and people go to church, but no, it's really supposed to be learning, not singing, dance, pretending to put on a show, pretend to be righteous, but really doing your own pleasure. Because a whole bunch of theatrics. Because if you notice, on Sunday, they go to church, but they don't shut down business. Only Christians I know of to shut down business on Sunday is the Chick-fil-A owners.
Nah, the Amish
and the Amish,
the Mennonites.
But our people ain't really into that.
Yeah,
we into TD Jakes Christianity, Cleflo Dollar Christianity, all the different pastor pork chops and give me your monies, pastors. But this day should be a holy, no work. And how do you make it holy? By learning the laws of your God, which you see this in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 8, verse 8. And, I think we could probably start this up at probably verse 1. So this is the people coming back from Babylon, the first Babylon. This is the people coming back from the first Babylon captivity. And this remnant of Israel that was given this blessing to come back. Now they're reestablishing the laws of God. They're keeping the Sabbath, and they're worshiping the Most High correctly. And this is going into them gathering on the Sabbath day. We started verse 1 and we'll read down. Who got it? Nobody?
Nehemiah chapter 8.
It's right here if need be.
In Nehemiah 8:1. 8:1. All the people gathered themselves together as one man into the street that was before the water gate. And they spake unto Ezra, the scribe, to bring the book of the law of Moses, which the Lord, or which Yahweh had commanded to Israel. And Ezra the priest brought the law before the congregation, both of men and women, and all that could hear with understanding, upon the first day of the 7th month. And he read therein before the street that was before the water gate from morning until midday.
Mm-hmm. So they're reading the law from morning to midday. So it's not an all-day thing, right? It's kind of like church. They start service, maybe it's 9, 10, go about 12, maybe 1, right? Say they're doing the same thing, only they're doing it on the Sabbath day, the 7th day, as the Most High commanded, and not the first day, the day of the sun, the day that the Catholic Church decided we don't like the Most High's way, we're going to change it to Sunday. So they're doing it the right day, the Lord's actual day, and they're reading in the law. They're giving His word to the people. Go ahead.
Before the men and the women, and those that could understand, and the ears of all the people were attentive unto the book of the law.
And they're also reading out of the book of the law. They're reading. So everybody's coming, and this is when they're learning the laws of God. They've been building up back the city all week. The 6 days that they can labor the same way. You might work all 6 days, and maybe you don't get time to get in your Bible and study. Well, you got men, you got different, not just us, you got other schools that every Saturday, every Shabbat, are reading out of the book of the law and giving the edification. And that's an opportunity that for you to learn what the Most High expects from you and how to walk in His ways, even though you was too busy all the rest of the week. Go ahead.
And then you also got men that's reading this book, and they causing you to have understanding of what's being read. They're actually sitting there giving edification of what's going on, so that they know what was going on in past times. They bring them up to date through the new linguistics, through new phonetics. They give you the language as it is towards them and causing them to have the understanding of what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And Ezra the scribe stood upon the pulpit of wood, which they had made for the purpose. And beside him stood Mattathiah, and Shema, Ananiah, Uriah, Hilkiah, and Maaseiah on the right hand, and on his left hand was Pedadiah, and Mishael, and Malchiah, and Hashem, and Hashabadana, Zechariah, and Meshullam.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And Ezra opened the book in the sight of all the people, For he stood above all the people, and he opened it, and all the people stood up.
Mm-hmm.
And Ezra blessed Yahweh in the great Yahweh, and all the people answered, Amen, Amen, with lifting up their hands, and they bowed their heads and worshiped the Lord with their faces to the ground.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Also Jeshua, Benai, Sherebiah, Jamin, Akub, Shebethai, Hodijai, Maasiah,
Mm-hmm.
Maasah, Kalida,
Uh-huh.
Azariah, Josabai, Hanan, Peliah,
Liar.
Pelaiah, and the Levites caused the people to understand the law,
Mm-hmm.
and the people stood in their place.
Mm-hmm. So just like Yakinan was saying, go ahead.
So they read in the book of the law of Yahweh distinctly, and gave the sense and caused them to understand the reading.
That's where you go into going. You got the Genesis breakdowns. You know, you just read through Genesis. It seems like only one man was created and made all people, and it's only his lineage. But then you got men. There was talk by other men, and it's been brought out how it was other people. Things are pointed out how was there only one group of people if Cain left and he got a wife, things like that, but not just pointing that out. Now they're bringing out the precepts, showing the line upon line and showing you where you can get the understanding. In this book, it's describing the same thing that happened here in Genesis, and now you're getting the whole picture because we're given the sense and giving the understanding, and and also just matching up how different scenarios happened back then happen today. Like when you go into the stories of like Joseph and the 12 sons, and how all his brothers was wicked as hell and turned on him, and they was jealous of him. And then you can show how that's definitely our people today, because now we can look in our communities and say we got the same spirit that this family had. This man and his brother, the sons of Jacob. So that's what the Shabbat is for. Not to go to church and sing and dance, and the pastor sit and talk out of his own mind and basically be a what's it called, motivational speaker, while touching on maybe one verse, maybe two verses in a whole 2 to 3 hours.
Correct.
You know, they are reading line upon line and then going here a little, there a little, out of the book of the law, not somebody else's T.D. Jakes' personal, writings of whatever he feels it is to be a man of God, and whatever you can think of that the Christians do. We're not doing that. The Kenneth Copeland's, none of that. We're reading out of the book of the law on the Sabbath day, and it's not an all-day thing. We're not dragging people into the building or the streets and forcing you to be all day with it, because as a people we can't handle that. We don't like to be sitting still and learning all day. But there's the balance. So the same way they read from the morning to the midday. And different schools got different times. We got 2 to 4, and then we'll go out before to go to the streets. But it's not the whole day, right? Same as the church, except for the church now they go shop, they go go to baseball games, they go to the beach, right? They might go do some things with some strange, if you know what I mean. There's children in the room. Right? Some dude might leave church or get something strange. All manner of wickedness. It's not a holy day, even though they call it that, right? we're going to see even
doing
after.
things that's forbidden on the Sabbath, pretty much.
Right.
Salah, also just making a speculation, which is a question. You see that when Yahweh says that he is Yahweh, he changeth not. You see the very principles when Yahweh shouts up and said, to you it is given, but to them it's not.
Mm-hmm.
You see that even here in the older books, with the older prophets, these things are being taught in such a way that it wasn't given to the heathen. So we're able to go in and do the line upon line research, so that we have an understanding why we're in the world and not of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So this is still keeping the heathen in darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got a precept too. This is the book of Luke, chapter 4, and I'm going to start at verse 14. And it reads, and Yahweh Shah returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee, and there went out a fame of him through all the region round about. And he taught in their synagogues, being glorified of all. And he came to Nazareth, where he been brought up. And as his custom, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood for to read. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah, which is Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written, the Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because he have anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He have sent me to heal the brokenhearted, and to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised. So him giving them sight, he was giving them the understanding and making them understand what was being prophesied before time. So it's important that when we out there, we actually giving people an understanding of what we doing and why we out there, to recover them from the state that we in. Because we binding them up. We out there to be a hospital to those who are sick and in the state of mind not to do the will of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it means to bethink yourself. To remember who you are, to give the remembrance to the people who you are. They wasn't just out there spouting, they was making sure people knew what they were saying. You know what I mean?
And only the slave can rethink slavery.
Yeah.
Others can speculate about it.
Con.
And also it said to give them freedom, right? Or liberty.
Deliverance,
but it also said liberty, I think. But this, just learning to take one day out of the world, coming into keeping the Sabbath, learning the true way to keep the Sabbath, you're becoming freed from being a slave to the world, because the world operates on a 7-day, 24/7, 365 cycle, buying, selling, getting gain, getting, and has everybody enslaved to that cycle. You know,
you being consumed, it's consumption.
Because the Most High didn't make us to just work and work and work, but we will get driven by things we see with our eyes and like our desires, our lusts, or coveting. And if it means working 24/7, 365, as long as I can get what I want, we'll do it. So he came and said, nah, one day you can't do it. You're to take this day off. From no work shall be done therein. And so to properly keep it holy, because he says it's also a holy day, you give yourself to the Most High by learning his word, learning his laws. And then also the rest of the day, it doesn't mean go into a room somewhere, go into a closet. Because some people will say the Sabbath day, you shouldn't do nothing, right? You shouldn't leave your living room or your bedroom. Just some people really just take the Shabbat, lay back in the bed, and nap all day. Hey, it says day of rest, brother. Nah, we're going to read down Nehemiah 8, verse 9 and 10. And we're going to see after the reading of the law was done, they didn't just go home and lock themselves in the closet and not do nothing and wait till the sun went down. It was really a day to celebrate. So go ahead, pick that.
Even Nicodemus says, right, in John 7:50,
Mm-hmm.
He says, or 49, John 7:49. But this people who know not the law are cursed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when they're doing the line upon line, see, they don't have that understanding. The sense of the word hasn't been given to them. They can only operate under a curse.
Huh. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, Nehemiah 8,
Nehemiah 8,
9, and 10.
9 and 10. And Nehemiah, which is the terrorist,
Tereshata, which I believe means like governor. Yeah, go ahead.
Tereshata, and Ezra the priest, the scribe, and the Levites that taught the people, said unto all the people, this day is holy unto the Lord, and to
your God.
The Lord
which,
your God.
Which holy means separate. This is supposed to be different from any other day. Go ahead.
Mourn not.
So this ain't this ain't the day to be sad. This ain't the day to be dwelling on the hardships you've been through during the week. Maybe your woman left you. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe your car motor blew up. Maybe you just been going through it. Maybe you and your woman been fighting. Or maybe one of your friends passed away a couple weeks ago. Whatever it is. Today isn't a day to mourn. Right? Go ahead.
This day is holy unto the Lord your God. Mourn not nor weep.
Mm-hmm.
For all people wept when they heard the words of the law.
Now, why they would weep? Because they heard the words of the law. Why though? Who knows why they wept? They wept because when they learned the law, they also learned how off they was. They also learned how they had been living like the heathen. They had learned like why they were in the condition they were. Why they had learned that why their people was being treated mistreated and oppressed back in Babylon. They learned that we could have all this, but we're missing out because we're not keeping these laws. Everything that's being brought out to us. Damn, I've been breaking that. I haven't been given to my brother when he's in need. I committed adultery about 2 months ago. You know, all the different things that the law says, they realize that I'm not keeping that, and I'm putting myself against the Most High and making myself an enemy to the Most High. But he's letting them know this ain't a day to weep about your transgressions, because the Most High blessed you and gave you mercy and grace and brought you back, and he allows you to repent. And that's what he's letting the people know. This day isn't a day to weep, sit there because you got a guilty conscience. Yeah, we all of our righteousness as is filthy rags. So this day ain't for that either. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Verse 10.
Verse 10. Then he said unto them, go your way, eat the fat, and drink the sweet.
So go your way and eat the fat.
Drink the sweet.
Drink the sweet. So what do we do on a feast day? Eat the fat, drink the sweet. What do we do after class is over? We break bread. What does everybody in the world do like on their day off? That's the day they choose to eat the fat and drink the sweet. They have gatherings, cookouts. But instead of it being a holy day where they worship the Most High, it's the birthdays about themselves, or it's graduation parties, which is about your own accomplishments, which ain't nothing wrong with graduation parties, but you can have that on Friday. You can have that on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's nothing wrong with celebrating an achievement. But the world, they pick what day? Most of the time they pick Saturday. And whatever celebrations it be, weddings, whatever. These things, celebrating isn't wicked. And that's why you see, even on the Sabbath day, you can celebrate. So you learn the laws of the Most High, you learn his word, your history, what he requires from you. And then you also, it's a day to feast. It's a day to celebrate and not to mourn. See that? Go ahead.
Slack it. And that's twofold too. Us eating the fat and drinking the sweet. That's us grabbing this bread right here, this word, and we sitting there and we studying, we giving breakdowns and stuff. And then we go back and share it with our brethren who nothing was prepared for by the Christian church. Nothing they can get out of Islam. We taking and we breaking this down. We going back and breaking bread with the people. That's us giving portions to the other people right there too as well. Yeah, come.
And send portions unto them for whom nothing is prepared.
So you, yeah.
I'm jumping
He
ahead.
said, but he was right. He was talking about in the word, sharing that.
Yeah.
But even like this is a feast day. Remember Leviticus 23, it actually says these are the feast days, and the first one is what? The Shabbat, the Sabbath. So we really doing it. So he said, send portions to them whom nothing is prepared. So this is a celebration. We were celebrating in Israel, in Jerusalem at this time. There was no scarcity in food on the Sabbath day. Go ahead.
For this day is holy unto the Lord. Neither be ye sorry, for the joy of the Lord is your strength.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So the Levites still all the people, saying, hold your peace, for the day is holy. Neither be ye grieved.
Mm-hmm. So we already tackled that. This ain't the day to be grievous. This is the day. It's a feast day, y'all. It's the day to celebrate. It's a day to celebrate the Most High and all His glory and goodness, and the having mercy on us when He could have destroyed us and not brought us back to Him. Go ahead.
And all the people went their way to eat and to drink and to send portions and to make great mirth.
So they made what?
Great mirth.
So yeah, like cats is out celebrating in the world, all these things that have nothing to do with the Most High. Celebrating ain't wrong. Celebrate your God. Celebrate Yahweh. Celebrate the fact that He gave us Yahweh Shah to put our sins on His back. And now He's waking us back up to the truth. And now He's showing us that the days are getting close. This the world as we see it is speedily coming to its end.
Connor, when you out there edifying people too, you want them to walk away and celebrate the light that you gave them. Because sometimes when you're out there teaching, you see somebody's face lit up that they actually walked away and they learned something that day, you know what I mean? And you really broke bread with them and you caused them to have that understanding. And that's a beautiful thing right there, you know what I mean? And you making the angels rejoice that you won somebody for the Most High and that you planted that seed, you know what I mean? And that gives the opportunity for the Most High to water that seed that you planted as well. You gave them understanding.
Mm-hmm. And that's what's coming next. Finish that off. Finish it off.
Keep it going. Because they had understood the word that was declared unto them.
See, and that's the most important part. That's where it really, really matters. The fact that you've been given this light. They celebrated. They stopped grieving the knowledge of their past wickedness. And now they're celebrating because they understood the words declared unto them. They got the laws, they got the commandments, they got their history, and they got the understanding now.
Can I build on that?
Mm-hmm.
And we just read earlier, as Captain said, whom nothing was prepared. So when we go out there, we're going to the brokenhearted, poor brothers, people who are hooked on these government drugs and all of that. Nothing was prepared for them but that. And now we go out there and we feed them. We go after the lost sheep, the children of Israel. So Nehemiah 8:13. And on the second day were gathered together the chief of the fathers of all the people, the priests and the Levites unto the fathers, unto Ezra the scribe, even to understand the word of Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
And they found written in the law, which the Lord had commanded by Moses, that the children of Israel should dwell in booths in the feast of the 7th month.
And we coming up on what? We coming up on that feast day, right?
Come.
Go ahead. You
And
was
that
gonna
they,
keep reading?
uh,
You was gonna keep reading, right?
yes.
All right.
And they that should publish and proclaim in all their cities that they should publish and proclaim in all their cities and in Jerusalem, saying, Go forth unto the mount and fetch olive branches and pine branches and myrtle branches and palm branches and branches of thick trees to make booth, as it is written.
Mm-hmm. Keep going, unless you're gonna edify on it, huh?
Booth.
Booths or tents.
Tents.
Yeah, booth tent, same thing. So obviously back then they couldn't go to Walmart, grab a tent. So they went, grabbed the branches, the wood, they built the tents.
Now,
I'd imagine probably something similar to what the Native Americans had, or could be different, but that's the idea. Go ahead.
so the people went forth and brought them and made themselves booths, everyone upon the roof of his house, and in their courts, and in the courts of the house of Yahweh, and in the streets of the water gates, and in the streets of the gates of Ephraim.
What does that show? That shows that going out camping is cool. Like, we go out and we find the camping spot. We go out to the woods and we camp. But if you can't do that, it doesn't mean you can't keep tabernacles.
Come.
You still can do it, because they came back, they built them on the roof of their house, the courts, wherever they felt like.
Yeah, one year we couldn't afford to go, and me and Ezekiel and Yard, we kept tabernacles right in the yard. Sure did. Kept it right there.
Mm-hmm. So go ahead.
Nehemiah 8:17. And all the congregations of them that were come in again out of the captivity made booths, and sat under their booths, for since the days of Jeshua the son of Nun unto that day had not the children of Israel done so. And there was very great gladness. Also, day by day, from the first day unto the last day, he read in the book of the law of Yahweh, and they kept the feast 7 days. And on the 8th day was a solemn assembly according unto the manner.
So this is technically an 8-day feast. First day, solemn assembly. 8th day, solemn assembly. Right? So that's the end of that chapter, right? Okay. We can go back.
The book of Exodus, chapter 35, verse 3. You shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day. And Moses spake unto all the congregation.
And real quick, so it says kindle. What does kindle mean? No. Well, it does take work, but it means start a fire. Start a fire, you gotta go chop wood. You gotta, you gotta rub sticks together to start the fire, whatever it be. It says not to kindle it. It doesn't say you can't have a fire, because you could. Who's ever had a fireplace? You don't just go out every day and get wood, do you? No, you already got that wood, and the fire keeps going. And there's not. It says kindle. It don't say you can't have a fire. So if you got a fire already going, and you got the supplies to keep it going, I don't find anywhere where it says something wrong with that. But some people will teach you can't have a fire on the Sabbath day. It says kindle. And that kind of don't make sense, because imagine you in the north, up in Canada or Alaska, and it's the dead of winter. You can't have the fire in the Shabbat. Hey, we got to bundle up today, y'all. We can't have that fire. So that don't make sense. Or you have to have cold food on the Shabbat day. Nah, if you already got a fire that's already going, and you already have the food cooked, you can warm it up. You can warm it up. It does say prepare what you are gonna have the day before.
Con.
So yeah, you cook it the day before. But if you don't want to eat it cold, where does it say you can't just warm it up by this fire? It's already started, right? So that's just some of the misunderstandings that's out there. That that's not what the Bible says.
Oh, a lot of brothers in there over righteousness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it clearly says kindle not a fire, and then when you reason and you use logic, everywhere doesn't feel like it feels outside today. There's places right now where you need a fire. You have to have a fire, or you might not even make it through the night. That fire you just already haven't started. So yeah, unless anybody want to add something to that point, we can go.
The book of Exodus, chapter 35, verse 4. And Moses spake unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, this is the thing which Yahweh commanded, saying, take you from among you an offering unto Yahweh. Whosoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it, an offering of Yahweh, gold and silver and brass.
And we'll notice he always, when he's talking about offerings and alms, it's always willing heart. Don't give if you don't want to give it, you might as well keep it. Most I ain't gonna accept it.
Con, and that's the problem he had with Cain right there. Cain didn't want to get an offering of his willing heart. Yeah, I mean, he didn't want to give the best of whatever animal he had to offer to the Most High. He wanted to give the Most High some wheat and vegetables and stuff like that. The Most High said he wants your meat, the best of your meat. Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to go in there and find what it is that's the best of yours to give to the Most High. Mm-hmm. Not a little sick lamb or anything like that either. You're supposed to give him your best of the first year during the Passover feast or any other feast day that you're supposed to have a lamb prepared. It's supposed to be the best of what you got. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You want your child to God to do their best. You going to be happy when your child falling short? Nah. So the Most High want the best of yours too as well.
But
and blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen and goat's hair and ram skins dyed red and badger skins and shittim wood and oil for the light and spices for anointing oil and for the sweet incense and onyx stones and stones to be set for the ephod and for the breastplate. And every wise-hearted among you shall come and make all that Yahweh have commanded. The tabernacle, his tent, and his covering, his taches, and his boards, his bars, his pillars, and his sockets, the ark and the staves thereof, with the mercy seat, and the veil of the covering, the table and his staves, and all his vessels, and the showbread, the candlestick also for the light, and his furniture, and his lamps, with the oil for the light, and the incense altar, and his staves, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the door at the entering in of the tabernacle, the altar of burnt offerings with his brazen gate, great, his staves, and all his vessels, the lair and his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars and their sockets, and the hanging for the door of the court, the pins of the tabernacle, and the pins in the court, and their cords, the cloths in the service to do service in the holy place, the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons to minister in the priest's office. And all the congregation of the children of Israel departed from the presence of Moses. And they came, every one whose heart stirred him up, and every one whom his spirit made willing. And they brought Yahweh's offering to the work of the tabernacle of the congregation, and for all his service, and for the holy garments. And they came, both men and women, as many as were willing-hearted, and brought bracelets and earrings and rings and tablets, all jewels of gold And every man that offered an offering of gold unto Yahweh. And every man with whom was found blue and purple and scarlet, and fine linen, and goat's hair, and ram's skins, and rams and badger skins, brought them. Everyone that did offer all offering of silver and brass brought Yahweh's offering, and every man with whom was found shittim wood for any work of service brought it. And all the women that were wise hearted did spin with their hands and bought that which they had spun, both of blue and of purple and of scarlet and of fine linen. And all the women whose heart stirred them up in wisdom spun goat's hair. And the rulers brought onyx stones and stones to be set for the ephod and for the breastplate, and spice and oil for the light, and for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense. The children of Israel brought a willing offering unto Yahweh, every man and woman whose heart made them willing to bring forth a manner of work, which Yahweh had commanded to be made by the hand of Moses.
Yeah, you know what this willing heart will keep you from doing. This willing heart will keep you from, you give, you put your brick in, and then at the end of the feast day, you complain that you didn't get enough of the offering because you was willing hearted. You're not going to complain. And then then also everybody was bringing to get these things made, the tabernacle, the everything in the tabernacle, the garments, everything. All the people came offering willingly and ungrudgingly. And when it's built, that's what they're not going to do. But see, when you don't come with a willing heart, this is what will happen. You'll give your little piece, which is the water. It's going to be appreciated, but you're not even, because you don't have a willing heart. Your mind's already off a little bit, so you're not going to look at all the other things that had to be put together, had to be purchased to have the event. You're not going to see. You're not going to take notice of that and realize. Who brought all this other stuff? How big is my contribution compared to somebody had to bring all this stuff?
Yeah, you're not
put their penny in.
Labors.
Right. And then what you didn't realize, because your mind is already focused on the wrong thing, is that the bulk of it was purchased by maybe 2 or 3 people when you start to get down to the brass tacks of the total cost. But if you had a willing mind, you wouldn't be thinking that. Because the problem is the unwilling mind expects something in return. You see that? And and you already have a set amount or thing that you expect to get in return. But the willing mind isn't expecting a return. So when I willingly offer it, and then I do get a return, I'm happy no matter what that return was. I'm not thinking I didn't get enough. Oh, it had to have been more. So-and-so must have hit a plate, whatever it be. That's what what happens from doing things willingly and unwillingly. And and the whole thing of at the end of it, you didn't get enough in return. That's the fruits of what mind state you was in when you put your brick in. How you act with what you receive in return, or if you receive something in return, it's not the spirit that the Most High wants from us. He wants willing heart, or you might as well just keep it. Because somebody else, one of these, let's take our forefathers in the wilderness. Everybody probably didn't bring stuff. The cats that wasn't willing, who took up the loss of what they could have gave? All these brothers and sisters, they offer willing. And that's the same today. If you're not of a willing heart, you might as well not even help out, whether it's this camp, any camp. But it'll still, the Most High will make sure it still gets taken care of. Those of us that are doing things willingly will figure out a way to make up for what you can't give because it's unwilling.
Oh, I got a precept.
Mm-hmm.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 12, verse 2, and it reads, do good to the godly man. So those who are setting out to do the works of the Most High, you should
Sirach
be willing.
what?
Sirach 12,
And what?
verse 2. Do good to the godly man. So those that setting out doing the work of the Most High, those are godly men. And it says, and thou shalt find the recompense. And if not from him, yet from the Most High. So you shouldn't even be looking that reap benefits from your brother. You should be looking from the thanks from the Most High, knowing He going to bless you through the characteristics that you shown taking the helm in the leadership role amongst your brethren by doing these things with a willing heart. Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to take oversight with a willing heart. You're supposed to lead by example with a willing heart. And that shows other brothers that when they have it to give and it's going to benefit us as brethren, as a congregation, as a people, they'll be willing to do it with a willing heart as well. Because you know why? The Most High going to give you that thanks back. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
This is 2 Corinthians 9, 6, and 7.
Come.
But this I say, he which soweth sparingly will reap also sparingly. And he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Every man according as he is purposed in his heart. So let him give, not grudgingly or out of necessity, for Yahweh loveth a cheerful giver.
All praises. So the Most High love when you do good to contribute to do His works. You know what I mean? And He wants you to be cheerful about doing His works. You know what I mean?
And if you're giving out of necessity, you're going to look for it.
Mm-hmm.
Come.
Exactly.
Truly just freeing.
Come.
Mm-hmm.
It's not being an example to give with a willing heart. Yeah. And then we got these children watching us too, and they see what you're doing. So if they got friends, they want to see their friends do good. You want them to pull up their friends. You want them to exhort them to do godly works. You want them to make them and exhort them to do the right thing. You know what I mean? And that's what we're here to set that example, so they see what we're doing as well.
And the world has different principles when it comes to giving. We'll see in our political system even today, if they gave this because they want a couple things passed in their favor later on.
Yeah.
So there's an expectancy of a return from in an evil sense.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We're in a different kingdom than we are. You know what I mean?
That spirit of expecting the return is just that. It is evil. It's because it's a selfish spirit. The Most High said to be what's the word? Charitable, right? He said the two main laws is love your brother, love him with all your heart, mind, body, soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. But you're giving, you don't want to give, and you're selfish, and you're only giving because you expect something in return. It's like you said, Kalak, that's what we see in the world, because that's the spirit of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But we're supposed to be in the world, but not of the world. Right? And And Yaquab said that it's like the parable of the man complaining about getting one talent for doing more work than the men that also got one talent that only worked for 1 hour compared to his 5 hours. That's the same thing. He got a selfish spirit. I want more than they get. We get in the world, we get in the kingdom, but I want more.
Yeah, we all get
because I started first. You should, but you're overlooking the fact that look where you was headed if you wasn't bid to come and do this work. You was headed towards nothing and worse. You was headed towards eternal punishment and judgment. But now you've made it, and now you're because you're selfish, you're complaining to the king, Yahweh, by Yahweh Shah. Now you're complaining, oh, you ain't giving me enough. You get the kingdom, huh? You get servants. Those that won't come and serve you, bring and slay before me. But you're complaining. Like you've made it to the top of the world, Craig. Top of the world, Craig. And you still ain't happy. You know why? Because when you came in and did the work, you worked them 5 hours you didn't really want to come in and work that. It wasn't of a willing heart. If it had been for a willing heart, you wouldn't even be mad you was doing that work for 5 hours. You would have no problem. You would say all praises Yahweh, the water. And yeah, you be straight. But that's what happens when it's not of a willing heart.
The book of Exodus, chapter 35, verse 30. And Moses said unto the children of Israel, see, Yahweh hath called by name Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, and he hath filled him with the spirit of Yahweh in wisdom.
And the spirit, so the spirit of Yahweh, like we had touched on the last class, isn't, and we're gonna always hit this. It's not Ali blah 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 blah. It's not twerking. It's not twerking in church. It's not even without the twerk. It's not running up and down the pews,
flapping your arms,
galloping in place, doing circles,
dramatic organ playing, dancing with snakes, foolishness.
You know, church
Kundalini and glossolala.
Yeah, church looking like a powwow. Picture the natives in a circle dancing around the fire while they worship that fire. Now you in the church doing the same thing around that cross.
Doing things that relate to lowers.
Talking about it's
I call it the spirit.
Call it the spirit. You call it a spirit. You didn't catch the Holy Spirit because the Spirit of God is what? 31.
And he hath filled him with the Spirit of God in wisdom, in understanding, and in knowledge, and in all the manner of workmanship. So you mean to tell me the spirit that he was filled with, it was wisdom, and it was understanding, and it was workmanship and knowledge?
Right.
That's what the spirit is, being filled with the spirit is right there.
Gives you the ability to make things in righteousness. And then that's where you get the difference of the righteous and wicked. So the spirit of Most High gives you the ability to put things together, to build things, to make things, to do all manner of workmanship. Then the left-hand side, the wisdom of the world, the wisdom of Esau, takes it and now you're building labs to grow clone meat. Now you got the wisdom to clone babies. Now you got the wisdom to change people's gender. So you got a wicked spirit of wisdom too.
So on the right hand, you got the spirit of decency and order, and on the left hand, you got chaos and confusion.
And both can be wisdoms. But that other wisdom is the wisdom. That's what we read about in Obadiah, right? He brings their wisdom to naught.
The wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High. Verse 32, and to devise curious works, to work in gold and in silver and in brass, and in the cutting of stones, to set them, and in the carving of wood, to make any manner of cunning work. And he hath put in his heart that he may teach both he and Oholiab, the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan. Them have he filled with wisdom of heart, to work all manner of work of the engraver, and of the cunning workmen, of all embroider, in blue and in purple, in scarlet, and in fine linen, and of the weaver, even of them that do any work, and of those that devise cunning work. The book of Exodus, chapter 36. Then brought Bezalel and Oholiab, and every wise-hearted man in whom Yahweh put wisdom and understanding, to know how to work all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary, according to all that Yahweh had commanded. And Moses called Bezalel and Aholiab, and every wise-hearted man in whose heart Yahweh had put wisdom, even everyone whose heart stirred him up to come unto the work to do it. And they received of Moses all the offering, which the children of Israel had brought for the work of the service of the sanctuary to make withal, and they brought yet unto him free offerings every morning. And all the wise men that were all the work of the sanctuary came every man from his work which they made. And they spake unto Moses, saying, the people bring much more than enough for the service of the work which Yahweh commanded to make. And Moses gave commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, let neither man nor woman make any more work for the offering of the sanctuary. So the people were restrained from bringing, for the stuff they had was sufficient for all the work to make it, and too much. And every wise-hearted man among them that wrought the work of the tabernacle made 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet, with cherubims of cunning work made he them. So the people bought everything with a willing heart. Not only was abundant, but it was more than enough. You know what I mean? They knew they was going to have some stuff left over. They were so willing to bring and do the work for the Most High that people were still bringing it, and they had to tell them to stop doing it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's how our heart should be when we doing it for the Most High. We should be willing to do it well, it's more than enough that we've done it. You know what I mean? In the Most High's eyes anyway. You know what I mean? Because like Brother Gamariel said, all our best work is counted as filthy rags anyway.
And what we don't see is what the church says. Bring your offering and sow a seed that the Most High bless you, and just keep pouring their money to our church. We done built up everything. We even got a new set of pews that now it looks like a stadium. But keep bringing, and it's all paid for. But keep bringing your money, because now I need some $1,000 suits up here. I need the new car. I need a jet. Like Kenneth Copeland said, he don't fly with the regular ordinary folk. He gotta have a jet.
Man, I remember back in the day, I had to been like 21, and me, one of my homies, we went down to Atlanta, and his uncle was a deacon at Eddie Long Church, and we went in there, and he had pictures of himself all around the church, painted up, oil paintings, like he was the Messiah, and it just felt off and wicked, man. And they had church from like 4 o'clock in the morning to like 6 o'clock at night, and we sat there all day, and they had all these offerings all day, and they were selling stuff all throughout the church. And he wasn't even there. He was somewhere across seas, and he was conducting church on the big screen, and people just sitting there. You know what I mean? So the screen was big as like maybe the back of this garage. You know what I mean? And that's he teaching on that. I'm like, how can you sit through this?
Big business.
How could you not feel this is off? You know what I mean? And I was young, and I was still in the world, but you could feel this was off. You know what I mean? And that let you know they had more than enough. And they were selling whatever you thought, cakes, pies, chicken all up in there. They even had a calendar with Eddie Long on it. He was dressed in spandex and everything with the fanny pack, S-curl and everything. I was like, man, what is this, man? Any way they could get a money grab, you know what I mean? So he was going to just take and be greedy. And that's all it was. That's what their church system was.
So can I read that?
Go ahead, bro.
Isaiah 56, 10 and 11. His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs that cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Yea, they are greedy dogs, which can never have enough.
That's what it was, too. He could never have enough. And loving to slumber, he was somewhere overseas on vacation, talking on the big screen to the congregation. He was loving to slumber somewhere else, probably on the church, people dying and all that stuff. Go ahead.
And they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, every one for his gain from his court.
And that's what they was doing, looking for their gain, selling the calendar of you, got old paintings all around the church, everything for sale in the church, everything for sale. I mean, it was crazy, man.
Even putting an ATM in the church.
Put the ATM in the church, yep.
Read it down. Read down.
Go ahead.
Oh, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, verse 12.
Come ye, say they. I will fetch wine, and we will fill ourselves with strong drink.
And that's everything. They take it, fetch your wine. That's your money.
And
That's your money, your offerings to fill themselves with strong drink. That's their new cars, their mansions, their houses. I said house, mansions. Their new cars, their planes, their trips on vacation that you can't afford to go on, but they go on. And they really feel my fault. Really on these at home and on these vacations, they filling themselves with strong drink. They having a real good time celebrating taking your money.
This is over here in the Bahamas with Eddie Long with his little boy lovers.
I thought it was in Thailand. He was
right. He has a judgment for it.
Yep.
And tomorrow shall be as this day.
And watch this.
And much more abundant.
Yeah, it's gonna be tomorrow. We're gonna get more.
They're going to Red Lobster on the church down.
Red Lobster. Going to Benny Higgs. No, we taking trips to New York City, and we get in the room at the top of Trump Tower with a bunch of boy toys.
Staying at the Wardolph.
We listen. We having Diddy parties with Diddy.
That's crazy right there.
But when in the wilderness, when it was enough, the Most High said, tell them they can stop bringing.
Yep.
Nobody said, hey, keep bringing, and then started spending the money on this stuff.
Salaki, paraphrasing. Even Job said, Lord, if you make me rich, I may act a fool, but if you make me poor, I'll bring a reproach against your name. Even Job knows that there's temptation in greed and being enticed by wealth.
Even in Solomon too, he said, give me not too little, give me not too much. Because I give too little, what did he say? I might turn from you. I'm paraphrasing. You give me too much, I might get profit. Something to that effect. But yeah, he said, give me just enough.
But it's sufficient. And this is what they're saying here. When Moses commanded them to go back by and say, yo, put a lid on it. We got it.
Yeah, we good.
Right.
All right.
Verse 9. The length of one curtain was 28 cubits, and the breadth of the one curtain 4 cubits. The curtains were all of one size, and he coupled the 5 curtains one unto another, and the other 5 curtains he coupled one unto another. And he made loops of blue on the edge of the one curtain from the self edge in the coupling. Likewise, he made in the uttermost side of another curtain in the coupling of the second. 50 loops made he in one curtain, and 50 loops made he in the edge of the curtain, which was in the coupling of the second. The loops held one curtain to another. And he made 50 taches of gold and coupled the curtains one unto another with the taches. So it became one tabernacle. And he made curtains of goat's hair from the tent over the tabernacle, 11 curtains. He made them. The length of the one curtain was 30 cubits, and 4 cubits was the breadth of the one curtain. The 11 curtains were of one size, and he coupled 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves. And he made 50 loops upon the uttermost edge of the curtain. In the coupling of 50 loops made he upon the edge of the curtain which coupleth the second. And he made 50 taches of brass to couple the tent together, that it might be one. And he made a covering for the tent of ram skins dyed red, and the covering of the badger skins above that. And he made boards for the tabernacle of shittim wood standing up. The length of the board was 10 cubits, and the breadth of the board 1 cubit and a half. One board had 2 tenons equally distant from another. Thus did he make for all the boards of the tabernacle. And he made boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards for the southward, and 40 sockets of silver. He made under the 20 boards 2 sockets under one board for his 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for his 2 tenons, and for the other side of the tabernacle, which is toward the north corner, he made 20 boards, and there 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. And for the sides of the tabernacle, westward, he made 6 boards, and 2 boards made he for the corners of the tabernacle in the 2 sides. And they were coupled together at the head thereof, to the one ring. Thus he did to both of them in both the corners. And there were 8 boards, and their sockets were 16 sockets of silver, under every board 2 sockets. And he made bars of shittim wood, 5 for the boards of the one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the tabernacle for the sides westward. And he made the middle bar to shoot through the boards from the one end to the other. And he overlaid the boards with gold, and made their rings of gold to be placed for the bars, and overlaid the bars with gold. And he made a veil of blue and purple and scarlet, and fine twined linen with cherubims made he in the cunning work. And he made thereunto 4 pillars of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. The hooks were of gold, and the cast of them 4 sockets of silver. And he made an hanging for the tabernacle doors of blue and purple and scarlet, and fine twined linen of needlework. And the 5 pillars of it with their hooks, and he overlaid their chapiters and their fillets with gold, but their 5 sockets were of brass. And the book of Exodus, chapter 37, verse 1. And Bezalel made the ark of the shittim wood, 2 cubits and a half was the length of it, and a cubit and a half breadth of it, and a cubit and a half of the height of it. And he overlaid it with pure gold, wherewith and without, and made a crown of gold to it round about. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold to the set by the 4 corners of it, even 2 rings upon the one side of it, and 2 rings upon the other side of it. And he made staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he put the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark to bear the ark. And he made the mercy seat of pure gold, 2 cubits and a half was the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And he made 2 cherubims of gold, beaten out of the one piece made he them on the 2 ends of the mercy seat. 1 cherub on the end on this side, and another cherub on the other end of that side. Out of the mercy seat made he the cherubims, one the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubim spread out their wings on high, and covered with their wings over the mercy seat, with their faces one to another, even to the mercy seat where the faces of the cherubims. And he made the table of the shittim wood, 2 cubits was the length thereof, and the cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and made thereunto a crown of gold round about. Also he made thereunto a border of an hand breadth round about, and made a crown of gold for the border thereof round about. He cast for it 4 rings gold, and put the rings upon the 4 corners that were in the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border were the rings, the places for the staves, to bear the table. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with the gold to bear the table. And he made the vessels which were upon the table, his dishes and his spoons, and his bowls and his covers, to cover withal of pure gold. And he made the candlestick of pure gold, of beaten work made he the candlestick, his shaft and his branch, his bowls, his knops, and his flowers were of the same. And 6 branches going out of the sides thereof, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side thereof, and 3 branches out of the candlestick out of the other side thereof. 3 bowls made after the fashion of almonds in the branch, of knops and a flower, and 3 bowls made like almonds in the other branch, a knot and a flower. So throughout the 6 branches going out of the candlestick, and in the candlestick were 4 bowls made like almonds, his knops and his flowers, and a knot under 2 branches of the same, and a knot under 2 branches of the same, and a knot under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches going out of it. Their knops and branches were of the same. All of it was of beaten work of pure gold. And he made his 7 lamps and his snuffers and his snuff dishes of pure gold. Of a talent of pure gold made he it, and all the vessels thereof. And he made the incense altar of shittim wood. The length of it was a cubit, and the breadth of it was a cubit. It was 4 square, and 2 cubits was the height of it, and the horns thereof were the same. And he overlaid it with pure gold, both the top of it and the sides thereof, round about. And the horns of it also he made unto it a crown of gold round about. And he made 2 rings of gold for it under the crown thereof, by the 2 corners of it, upon the 2 sides thereof, to the places for the staves to bear it withal. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he made the holy anointing oil and the pure incense of sweet spices, according to the work of the apothecary. The book of Exodus, chapter 38. And he made the altar of burnt offering of shittim wood. 5 cubits was the length thereof, and 5 cubits the breadth thereof. It was 4 square, and 3 cubits the height thereof. And he made the horns thereof on the 4 corners of it. The horns thereof were of the same, and he overlaid it with brass. And he made all the vessels of the altar, the pots, the shovels, and the basins, and the flesh hooks, and the fire pans. All the vessels thereof made he of brass. And he made for the altar a brazen grate of network under the compass thereof, beneath unto the midst of it. And he cast 4 rings for the 4 ends of the grate of brass, to be places for the staves. And he made the staves shittim wood, and overlaid them with brass. And he put the staves into the rings on the sides of the altar to bear it withal. He made the altar hollow with boards. And he made the laver of the brass, and the foot of it brass, of the looking glass of the women's assembling, which assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he made the court on the south side southward. The hangings of the court were of fine twined linen and 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their brazen sockets 20. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. And for the north side, the hanging were 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their sockets of the brass 20. The hooks of the pillars and the fillets of silver. And for the west side were hangings of 50 cubits, their pillars 10, and their sockets 10. the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver, and for the east side eastward 50 cubits. The hangings of the one side of the gate were 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. And for the other side of the court gate of this hand and that hand were hangings of 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. All the hangings of the court round about were of fine twined linen, and the sockets for the pillars were of brass, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver, and the overlaying of their chapiters of silver, and all the pillars of the court were filtered with silver. And the hanging for the gate of the court was needlework of blue and purple and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And 20 cubits was the length of the height of the breadth of the 5 cubits answerable to the hanging of the court. And their pillars were 4, and their sockets of brass 4, the hooks of silver, and the overlaying of their chapiters, and their fillets of silver. And all the pins of the tabernacle and of the court round about were of brass. This in the sum of the tabernacle, even of the tabernacle of the testimony, as it was counted according to the commandment of Moses for the tabernacle of the Levites by the hand of Ithamar, son of Aaron, the priest, and Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made all the Lord commanded Moses. And with him was Oliad, son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, and engraver, and of cunning workmen, and embroider in blue, and in purple, and in scarlet, and fine linen. All the gold that was occupied for the work in the work of the holy place, even the gold of the offering, was 29 talents and 730 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. And the silver of that were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents, and the 1,700 and 15 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. A bekah for every man that is half a shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary, for every one that went he numbered from the 20 years old and upward, for the 600,000 and the 3,000 and the 550 men. And of the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary, and the sockets of the veil, and 100 sockets of the 100 talents, a talent for a socket, and of the 1,775 shekels he made hooks for the pillars, and overlaid their chapiters, and filtered them. And the brass of the offering was 20 talents and 2,400 shekels. And therewith he made the sockets to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the brazen altar, and the brazen grate for it, and all the vessels of the altar, and the sockets of the court round about, and the sockets of the court gate, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court round about, and of the blue and purple, and scarlet, they made cloths and service to do service in the holy place.
Read the next chapter.
Yes, Lakia.
Go ahead.
The book of Exodus, chapter 39. And of the blue and of the purple and the scarlet, they made cloths of service to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aaron as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he made the ephod of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold into thin plates, and cut it into wires, to work in with the blue and with the purple and with the scarlet, and in the fine linen with cunning work. They made shoulder pieces for it to couple it together by the two edges was it coupled together. And the curious girdle of his ephod that was upon it was of the same according to the work thereof, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And Yahweh commanded Moses, and they wrought onyx stones enclosed in the ouches of gold, graven as signets, and graven with the names of the children of Israel. And he put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they should be stones for a memorial to the children of Israel, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he made a breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of gold, blue and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. It was foursquare. They made the breastplate double of a span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof, being double. And they set it for rows of stones. The first row was of sardius, a topaz, and of carbuncle. This was the first row. And the second row, emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. In the third row, a ligure, an agate, and amethyst. And the fourth now, a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. They were enclosed in ouches of gold in their enclosures. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of the signet, every one with his name according to the 12 tribes. And they made upon the breastplate chains as the ends of wreathed work of pure gold. And they made two ouches of gold and two gold rings, and put the two rings in the two edges of the breastplate. And they put the two wreathed chains of gold in the two rings on the ends of the breastplate. And the two ends of the two wreathed chains they fastened in the two ouches, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And they made two rings of gold, and put them on the two ends of the breastplate, upon the border of it, which was on the side of the ephod inward. And they made two other golden rings, and put them on the two sides of the ephod underneath, toward the forepart of it, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they did bind the breastplate by the rings unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of the blue, that it might be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate might round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moses finished the work. Then a cloud covered the tent.
Hold up. Where you at?
34.
We was at like 21.
21.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I did skip. I'm sorry. Sloppy.
22, the robe.
And he made the robe of the ephod of woven work of all blue, and there was a hole in the midst of the robe, as the hole of a habergeon, with a band round about the hole, that it should not rend. And they made upon the hems of the robe pomegranates of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and twined linen, and they made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, round about between the pomegranates, a bell of a pomegranate, round about the hem of the robe, to minister in, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And they made coats of fine linen of woven work for Aaron for the sons, and a mitre of fine linen, and goodly bonnets of fine linen, and lined breeches of the fine twined linen, and a girdle of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet of needlework, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon the writing like to the engravings of the signet, holiness to Yahweh. And they tied and they tied unto it a lace of blue to fasten it on the high upon the mitre, as Yahweh commanded Moses. Thus was the work of the tabernacle of the tent and the congregation finished. And the children of Israel did according to all that Yahweh commanded Moses, so did they. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moses, the tent, and all his furniture, his taches, his boards, his bars, his pillars, and his sockets, and the covering of ram skins, dyed red, and the covering of badger skins, the veil of the covering, the ark of the testimony, and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat, the table, and the vessels thereof, and the showbread, the pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, and with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for light, and the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle, the brazen altar, and his grate of brass, his staves, and all his vessels, the laver, and his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars, and his sockets, and the hangings for the court gate, his cords, and his pins, and all the vessels of the service of the tabernacle for the tent of the congregation, the cloths of service to do service in the holy place, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest and his sons' garments to minister in the priest's office, according to all that Yahweh commanded Moses. So the children of Israel made all the work. And Moses did look upon all the work, and behold, they had done it as Yahweh had commanded. Even so had they done it as Moses blessed them.
And Moses blessed them. Come. All right.
The book of Exodus.
Just close out and listen to that.
The book of Exodus, chapter 40. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, on the first day of the first month shalt thou set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with the veil. And thou shalt bring in the table, and set it in order the things that are to be set in order upon it. And thou shalt bring in the candlestick, and light lamps thereof. And thou shalt set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hangings of the door to the tabernacle. And thou shalt set the altar of the burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. And thou shalt set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and shalt put water therein. And thou shalt set up the court round about, and hang on the hanging at the court gate. And thou shalt take the anointing oil, and anoint the tabernacle, and all that is therein, and shalt hallow it, and all the vessels thereof, and it shall be holy. And thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering, and all the vessels, and sanctify the altar, and it shall be an altar most holy. And thou shalt anoint the laver and his foot, and sanctify it. And thou shalt bring Aaron and his sons unto the door of the tabernacle, and the congregation, and wash them with water. And thou shalt put upon Aaron the holy garments, and anoint him, and sanctify him, that he may minister unto me in the priest office. And thou shalt bring his sons, and clothe them with coats, and thou shalt anoint them, as thou didst among their fathers, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office. For their anointing shall surely be an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. Thus did Moses, according to all that Yahweh commanded him, so did he. And it came to pass in the first month of the second year of the first day of the month that the tabernacle was reared up. Salakia. And Moses reared up the tabernacle and fastened his sockets and set up the boards thereof and put in the bars thereof and reared up his pillars, and he spread abroad the tent over the tabernacle and put the covering of the tent above upon it, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he took and put the testimony into the ark, and set the staves on the ark, and put the mercy seat above upon the ark. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil of the covering, and covered the ark of the testimony, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he put the table in the tent in the congregation upon the side of the tabernacle northward without the veil. And he set the bread in order upon it before Yahweh, as Yahweh had commanded Moses. And he put the candlestick in the tent of the congregation over against the table on the side of the tabernacle southward. And he lighted the lamps before Yahweh, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he put the golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil, and the burnt sweet salaki, and he burnt sweet incense thereon, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he set up the hanging at the door of the tabernacle, and he put the altar of burnt offerings by the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and offered upon the burnt offering and the meat offering, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar. He put water there to wash withal. And Moses and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet thereat. When he went into the tent of the congregation, and when they came near unto the altar, they washed as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he reared up the court round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moses finished the work. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of Yahweh filled the tabernacle, and Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation, because the cloud abode thereon, and the glory of Yahweh filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all the journeys.
Real quick, right? So the Most High had instructed Moses to have all these things built. And one of those things was where he was going to have his presence, the Ark of Testimony, right? And put it in the separate room, put the veil, and that's where Aaron would come in like once a year, speak to the Most High, or with Moses' time, whenever, right? But when he would be there, he would feel that his glory filled the tabernacle, right? Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation because the cloud abode thereon, right? So you look at Islam, and they got the building, the cube, and the cube is called what?
The Kaaba stone.
That's the stone in it. So the building is called what? The Kaaba? Either way, there's a stone in it. That's the Kaaba stone, right? And they circle and they bow to it, and they say an angel brought it down, right? I don't know what that is. But they say they don't worship the rock, right? They worship in Allah, but he had put that there for them, basically, right? The Most High made this room and this ark, and he comes down and he feels he comes to it. He didn't give us the ark and we bow to it. And you don't find the scriptures where Israel is ever bowing to the ark. The Most High would come and visit. And his glory would fill the room. But nobody would ever bow to the ark. Just a little difference in Islam and its falsehood and the actual real deal. Yahweh's instructions, making him a place, and how that operates. Nobody bowed down to his temple, his tabernacle, his altar of testimony, the Ark of Testimony. But that's all I wanted to bring out on that. We'll keep going.
Verse 37. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they sojourned not till the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of Yahweh was upon the tabernacle by day, and the fire was on it by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, we'll close out. That's the end of Exodus. We'll just go ahead and start Leviticus next week. StreamYard.
Yeah. Once again, this is the Hebrew Chosen Elect of Wilmington, Delaware. If you'd like to give any alms or free will donations, you can give at the Cash App at the bottom of the screen. We have our feast days coming up. Hit me or Brother Gamari up on Facebook if you would like to join us for our feast days, as we are still planning our feast days that are coming up: the Feast of Trumpets, Day of Atonement, and the Feast of Tabernacles. Also, we have our upcoming 7th annual Give It All You Got coat drive. If you would like to give any donations concerning the coat drive, if you would like to drop off new or slightly worn coats, please contact me or Brother Gamari. We'll let you know we can drop off slightly worn or used coats as well as brand new coats. Or if you'd like to make a donation towards the coat drives, you can give it at hashtag BDanny01. That's hashtag BDANIE01 at Cash App. And you got anything else you would like to say?
No, I think you covered it. I never read the Cash App, but it's on the bottom of the screen. Are we doing donation?
Yeah.
Did the donation. Yeah, but so that was for coat drive for if it's just regular arms for ministry, flyers, travel, whatever, to do the work of the Most High. That's the Cash App on the bottom of the screen. Hashtag Hebrew Chosen Elect. That's all I got. We can close out with that.
All right, with that, we say shalom and Asher Shabbat. Kum Yashala! Kum Yashala! Kum Yashala! Hashem Mashiach Yahushua!